Previously on Queer Games, heck yeah. We just had an outbreak of avian flu here. They killed a lot of chickens. Should I be buying eggs? But they're like, no, there won't be an egg shortage. I'm like, that's exactly what I expect the authorities to say when there's about to be an egg shortage. So I did go and buy some eggs. But there's heaps of eggs on the shelf. So I think this is one time where maybe they were right. I just don't know how you can kill like a million chickens and it not disrupt egg supply. And now, the conclusion. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Queer Games Heck Yeah for today. It's a very special episode. Today I'm looking at the Queer Games Bundle 2024. I'm going to look through what's in it and then we're going to pick a game to play, I would say. The Queer Games Bundle is a collection of art and games and music and books. I mean, I'm not quite sure what's in it. That's what we're going to find out today. By a bunch of queer artists, a lot of early career artists too, and people from around the world. And they put together their bundle, like hundreds and hundreds of things, and for a pittance, you can get this amazing collection of art. Like, one of the best things about it is that you're actually supporting, a bunch of queer people around the world, because it's not easy. I don't need to describe it because it can describe itself on the webpage. It's on itch. It's in its fourth year, difficult fourth year. When something's fresh and new. I found this with the Queer Games Festival. For the first couple of years, people are like, wow, look at this shiny new thing. But then after like the third or fourth or fifth year, some of the novelty wears off. And that's when actually it matters more than ever. A, that it runs, and B, that people support it. The thing about the Queer Games Bundle and like a lot of sort of queer events is that they're volunteer run. And so you can never actually assume they're going to be back next year. Because the people that run it, I know this from personal experience, is every year you ask yourself, do I want to do this again? We love Nilson. We love Taylor. They're two game devs. They do great work. We love it. All right, Quick Games Bundle. Let's have a look at what's in this year's bundle. 17 pages. Okay, we're going to be here for a while. But hopefully, through the miracle of editing, it'll be a bit faster. Read-only memories, classic. This has been in the bundle every year. So you probably already own 3 or 4 copies of it. Also, Midboss is a company that, does a lot of support for queer devs. In fact, they have a new game out, a sequel to Read Only Memories called Neurodiver. So yeah, we're going to go through the games really quickly, and then I'm also going to pick some candidates. So I already see, like, Ultra Hat Dimension is an option. Bon Bon, a short horror story about your childhood. I don't need to be reminded. Knife Sisters. This is actually a really amazing game. Highly recommend that. It's a few years old now. You Are a Wizard, a game where you are a dang old wizard. I mean, I love the look of it. Okay, we'll make that a candidate. Do I pass? Amazing game. All the games by Taylor are amazing. Highly recommend them. Just really impactful, really thoughtful games. The tabletop gamers are having a real moment this year, I think. They're just doing the most amazing work. It's like gaming is moving offline a bit more, and it goes in pendulums. I'm sure it'll go back online. Maybe it's like because of COVID, everything went online, and now we're in a stage where people are like, I just want to make real things. I just want to be in real places. I respect that. Full service stop, all lesbians guaranteed a happy ending. The art for this looks amazing. Soap opera geological survey, drift self, cat shelter, BDSM boys, Beauty Copter. If you haven't played Beauty Copter, it is so underrated. It is just like the vibe in Beauty Copter is so unbelievably good. It is just like, it is art. It actually belongs in a gallery. People who like art but don't like games are completely missing out on something really special. Like, Beauty Copter is art for people who like games. I highly recommend it. Here's a queer album, 10 tracks of dense, heavy, low-tempo techno. I believe this universe is called Yags, Bob C Games. They've been around for a while. What I really like about Yags is that he's built a whole universe. Like, so many queer games are one and done, but actually what Bob C Games offers is a whole universe of several games in it. So it's actually, really interesting for that. Trouble Comes Twice, a bisexual rom-com visual novel. This is a great title. Heatwave, a fast-paced fighting game set in the future. This is really amazing because we just recently had Drag Her, a fighting game, very high-profile queer fighting game, fall over. Here's a little indie game on itch, just doing its own thing, where other games of bigger profile haven't quite made it over the line. Oh, tactics game. My other trend for this year in queer games is there's a bit of genre hopping. Queer games have been very visual novel heavy in the past, but I think we're seeing more and more queer games set in other genres. Keiju Noir, the art in this game is really spectacular, and it's a really substantially sized game, so it's actually a good evening, I reckon, if you're looking for a game to play. To just get that so cheap is amazing, because it's actually like a professional quality game. This many games is tough on the throat. I'm coughing, is what I mean. He Hacked the Girl Out of Me, one of the most special queer games the last few years. Just really an amazing game. The Morning Star. Now, I haven't played this one, but I recognize the art style. I recognize the name. This developer did an amazing little game about a necromancer waking up from a sleep and having to bring back their lord. Just a really romantic, beautiful game. And I know they've moved into novels, and I kind of really want to read some of their novels because the game was so amazing. Time Bandit, Momentous, Copper Odyssey, Dwelling, You the Beast. Hit Me, another classic game, a bit dark, but a really great vibe. I actually really like this dev. Sigh of the Abyss, maybe the most beautiful game in the bundle. Meditation on the Body. I love meditation games. Something I think queer games are really ahead of the rest of the gaming is the idea of like considering the mental health of the player and actually improving the mental health and leaving the player in a better place than when they started playing the game. So meditation on the body, I think, could be a really great game to look at. Mushroom Musume, this is actually a full-on game. If you're looking for a long play, just interesting and a little bit strange, but also quite heartfelt. Boss Game, this is probably one of the bigger games in the bundle. We should probably dedicate its own episode to that, so we're going to skip that for the moment, but we'll probably come back to it in a later episode. The Archivist and the Revolution, that's actually a really thought-provoking game. Text-heavy, pretty good. Small Town Emo, we love that game. New Zealand game. Game Boy, you can actually get it for your Game Boy to play it, which is pretty cool. Zags, I said Yags, but I think it's a Zags game. So the Bob C games universe, you get at least two in this one. Kitsune Zero. Now I haven't played this one, but I recently played the demo for Kitsune Tales, which is by the same developer. So they have a full platformer coming out in just a few months. You can wishlist it on Steam and itch. A mainstream game that is also queer, which is pretty rare because like most queer games are little indie, like little small games, but this is actually a full-on platformer epic. So yeah, now's the time to jump on that. Kitsune Tales. But you get a taste of it here. Transit games, quite a few queer games set on public transport. I think that says a lot, actually. Coiled Up Together, a Naga navigating his poly relationship. That's funny. It Started with Hairs. I actually really like this. It's sort of a poetry game. A Memorable Time. We loved a Memorable Time. I really recommend pairing this with He Hecked the Girl Out of Me. I think they're two games that tackle a similar topic, but with different takes on it, and they're both from around the same period. So I think it's just a really interesting juxtaposition for those two games. If I was like teaching a game course, or as a high school teacher, I'd actually make the students play these two games back to back. I think they're really interesting. And I think they both illuminate, they're both good games by themselves, but they just illuminate each other just a little bit. In fact, the bundle is worth it just for those two games, to be honest. A Tavern at Night. Oh, I love an Orc Boy. We're going to open that one up. Forevermore. Yeah, see, this is actually a developer that I think is very underrated. Structural Integrity, Navigate a Queer Relationship on the Rocks. I love that. I love just queer games can tackle adult topics, and I don't mean like pornographic topics. I just mean like adult topics. Queer games just go there in a way that I think mainstream games just haven't yet. I mean, some obviously do. I don't want to like oversell it, but I just think queer games are just so much realer, really, than pretty much any other type of game at the moment. A phone found in tall grass. Hilarious game, hilarious game. You're scrolling through the messages and they just tell a whole story. A late night convo. Once again, a real adult situation that's just dealt with, it's just two people talking it through and it's just really well done. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover or a game by its thumbnail, but unfortunately, sometimes that's all I've got to go on. Sometimes I think with the Queer Games bundle, people are a bit resistant to it because there's so many options in it, and they're a bit like, I don't know where to start. But you've just got to, let it wash over you and just throw yourself into it, I think. That's the best way to do it, because each one of these is just a little art artifact. Quinn and Flynn, we love Quinn and Flynn. Very entertaining games. Oh, it looks like it's complete. When I played it, I don't think it was complete. So, and it was already a substantial game, so the full version must be a good time, actually, and good value. Modern Cave Girl Midsummer. Oh, Les Liz is on Mastodon, and they give good toot, I should say. They also not only do they make really great lesbian games, they made one called Rose. Oh, I've forgotten the name. Apologies, but they made a really good games because they're not just visual novels. They're actually full on. I think this one was a point and click, which is pretty rare. But they also stream. They stream queer games. So if you like queer games, heck yeah. I also recommend looking up Les Liz because they do a similar thing to this, but they play a few more lesbian games than I do, and I really appreciate that. It's actually one of the few channels I've subscribed to. Hello, if you ever see this. We should work together one day. Wouldn't it be great to stream together sometime? Because I really admire your games, Liz. If you see a game that you actually want me to play, like leave a note below and I'll try and get around to it. Befriending the scarily cute fisherman. I struggle to talk to the scarily cute guys for sure, but I think there's a school of thought looking for someone to like date that you should go for the people that you find scarily cute. Because what if you end up dating someone you find really scarily cute? That would be weird. I must eat chili oil. Yeah, I know the feeling. A walk through the forest. We love walk. That's another meditative game. That's just a good time. Just a pleasant way to kind of like recenter yourself if your thoughts are racing. Play a little meditative game. There's quite a few in the bundle. They're a different type of game. Jock-Bound. Battle through the gym to become the boy's legend. Well, we'll have a quick look at it, just in case. First Train. First Rain. Okay, third time's the charm. Tangled Virus. They do dark games, but they've got a really great vibe. Queer Picnic. Welcome to your very first Queer Picnic. Ray White. We love Ray White. An award-winning poet from, I want to say, Brisbane, and they use Bitsy to do some of their poems, and I think it's almost always a success. But we've done a few Ray's games on Queer Games. Heck yeah! So we'll skip it this today. Role playing in the post-nuclear Soviet wasteland. I'm really interested at the moment in games set in like a USSR motif, because there's a lot of developers in the Eastern Europe, especially. So from like Ukraine and Belarus and Hungary and all that, Poland, and they seem to be making quite a few games that are kind of set in an alternate future. Like we've got like the cyberpunk or whatever, but there's like sort of Soviet punk, USSR punk. It's just a really interesting sort of subgenre because Soviet science fiction is actually a really kind of interesting genre itself when the Soviet Union was around. Because I think in the West, we've got a lot of cliches about the Soviet Union, but I think something that's a little underappreciated is that their science fiction is often very hopeful looking and very future forward looking. If you look at American science fiction, it's very much about sort of this frontier kind of wagon train, pioneer kind of vibe. Or you look at British science fiction, and it's very much about the fall of the empire, the Day of the Triffids and 1984 and all that. Then you get to something like Soviet science fiction, and it really is a bit like we're just sort of building these giant machines and we're going out into the stars, and just the people are going out into the stars. It's like The vibe's quite alright for Soviet science fiction. I know that's sounds weird to say, and I'm certainly not defending. I'm not a fan of the USSR as a political unit, but I actually think there's a lot to like about the science fiction from that era. And so I'm kind of like, whenever a game comes along that's got a bit of Soviet punk, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. What's the DNA behind that? I'm interested. I'm not in the mood for like a darkish game today. I will say, so far going through the bundle does seem a lot of, I guess, darker games this year. Some of the brevity is missing, I guess. Not to say that there's heaps of comedy games in it. You can't deny that often in queer games, the people who have something to say, they have something to say because they're unhappy, which is interesting, but also sometimes I have to be in the mood for it. Fishing for average Caucasian boyfriends, an uninspiring dating sim. I I'm afraid to open this for what for what it might say. All right, let's. Oh, we'll make it as a candidate, but I'm in no hurry. I'm in no hurry to open that can of worms, really. Blood and Company, vampire game. Imagine you make a game and use the word blood in the title, and it doesn't have vampires in it. I think the world would. I think the internet would explode. Bond. Oh, well, actually, let's open that one. Maybe a slapstick romp is what I'm in the mood for. At the moment, I'm loving game devs who are doing a series of games. I actually think that's the future of indie gaming. Rather than doing individual bespoke games each time, I think we're going to see more and more devs doing like 4 or 5 games in a series. I think that's an interesting, healthy development. Because rather than reinventing the wheel each time, why not polish and learn? You know, Tea Time with the Vampire. Like, I'm struggling to avoid the vampire games today. Angel Blood. Her fangs peek out of her lips, and I imagine them on my neck. I'll Drive, a gay road trip romance. I went on a road trip with a friend like 2 weeks ago, and we're walking to the car hire place, and I'm like, "Oh, do you want me to drive part of it?" And he's like, "Sure, we'll add your name to the form." And then we get in there, and we're filling out the forms, and I go, "Oh, and let's add my name to it." And my friend goes, "No, no, he won't be driving." And I was like, put back in my box. And so part of me was like, oh. But also part of me was like, oh. Anyway, I'll Drive. Revenge of the Antagonist. I love these sort of slightly fourth wall breaking, slightly meta games that we get. Help, I'm trapped in a visual novel kind of thing. I have played hundreds of queer games, like literally, maybe even 1,000. No, no, not just hundreds. Let's not over egg it. And I have to say, I have not heard of most of these. Like, there is a lot in this year's Queer Games bundle that they are the definition of little gems. In previous years, there were always 3 or 4 games where you're like, oh, this is a game that's quite high profile. This year, I think the profile of the games is a lot lower, but I actually think that's kind of like the secret sauce this year, that this is really alternative art. This is where the exciting stuff is happening. You have to dig a little harder for it though, which I understand is not everybody's cup of tea. It's the stuff you haven't heard of where the next thing is going to come from. Door Dashcula. Even monsters got to pay the rent. There's a big component of queer games of just like not having any money. I think that's really telling. Poultry Princess. Destined to fall in love, cursed to be a chicken. The standard social website. Love Corp. Do you have any more? All right. Well, we did it. We went through all, I don't know, several hundred items, all 200 items in the bundle. Actually, how many? Where is the? Click here to check it out. This is us. We're going to check on this. Pay no attention to the. I hope there's no personally identifiable information on this tab other than my name, Luke. You've only got 48 hours, people. 3 days. By the time this is up, you'll have 48 hours. Get on it. 500 games, software, zines, music, all that sort of stuff. Amazing value. All right, let's pick something to play. All right, I think we've made our decision. I'm gonna go get a drink, and I'm gonna be right back, and we're gonna play a game. Hi everyone, back. I mean, not that you noticed because it was a quick cut, so I could have been gone for an hour. How would you know? I picked a game to play. I thought because it was the Queer Games bundle, maybe I should pick something a bit generic, like a bitsy game that we could all enjoy, or like something about queer political, or something that's queer as in like strange and unusual, like one of those games where you're just flying around, and it's like halfway between awake and asleep. But then I was like, I actually want to play something like gay today. Like, I don't know why. So even though I know I should be playing it broad, I'm just going to kind of go for like Luke's special interest. Wait, we're over that way. Luke's special interest, and just play something I want to play. Because that's the glory, A, of the Queer Games bundle, but B, the glory of like people making these games is that you get to play something that you actually want to play and something that actually you're interested in, which is a you know a strange way of saying I want to play the game with the guy's feet in socks, called Jock-Bound. Yeah, okay, so we're going to play Jock-Bound. We're going to have a look at it. I know nothing about it other than what you saw in the bundle. But it was in the bundle, so it's got to be good, right? Jock-Bound. Concept by Nilson. Oh, it's a Nilson game! Okay. Well, concept. Made by Aaron El Sabrout. Using Bipsy. Bipsy. That's not... That's not Bitsy. Now I'm confused. Alright, let's give it a go. This story contains explicit sexual content. Well, we'll see how far we can get, as well as depictions of transphobia and harassment. Oh. By playing, you consent to see such materials. Yes, well, if you don't like surprise content, look away. Obviously, Queer Games, heck yeah, it's not for everyone. I always use the bathroom stalls to change. I think it's a holdover from when I used to have to use the other locker room. But even now I feel nervous. I don't want to be looked at. I want to feel like my body will draw attention to me, that people will see my scars. They'll ask me questions about it, or worse, they'll know right away what I am. I guess I shouldn't be free balling at the gym, even if I don't have balls. Part 1. Locker Room. I love games set in locker rooms. Oh, do I do anything? Do I click on something? Oh, there we go. Took a while to load. It looks like there's something back here. Item found. STP Packer. Oh, now I can be incognito. Oh, I see. It's like a... you can look it up. Oh, a guy urinating at the urinal breaks the sacred law of no talking in the men's bathroom to ask me if I have a membership. Don't I know I can get a locker? I should just change out there, he says. I say nothing. I don't want my voice to give me away. Part 2, cardio. Interesting. Oh, loading again. I leave the locker room with my heart pounding. That guy was just trying to be helpful, but he still scared me. I feel a strange rush between my legs. Fear and arousal have always been the same to me. I've heard that the fear part and the arousal part of your brain are quite near each other, and so like the wall is very thin, which is why people like a lot of kinks and fetishes are about things that you're afraid of. Or I've also heard that kinks and fetishes sometimes it's like something you're afraid of. You get to experience it in a situation that you're in control of, which I find really interesting. And I really pleased that there's games that are like exploring that and talking about that. Like they're very adult topics, and I'm kind of like I get annoyed with the internet that the algorithm kind of separates everything into like completely safe and bland, or like, oh, this is hardcore pornography and it's all in a silo. Like, I just wish we kind of had this middle ground where it was okay for like queer people, especially, to just like have adult conversations about how the mind works, about how our relationships work, and all that sort of stuff. Which is why this game has surprised me. Because actually, I honestly just picked it up because the guy had like his socks on the cover. And I was like, that's the game I want to play today. But it's actually giving me a serious discussion about queer existence. I'm being challenged when I just wanted to be titillated. Life is so hard sometimes. I pushed past the feeling and past all the treadmills and ellipticals with girls in tights on them. I never use those kinds of machines. I feel like I shouldn't. To establish I'm not like those girls, then I feel bad feeling that way. In a selfish way, I really love what trans men bring to masculinity. Like, I'm not saying I know a massive amount of trans men that I know of, but like the ones that I kind of have been associated with, this might be me reading into it. I really kind of get the feeling they love being men, and they just love everything about maleness. And we talk a lot about this day about crisis of masculinity, and who are the role models for young men and everything. I'm like, we could do a lot worse than like listening to trans men and just kind of like taking cues from them, because I actually think they have or a positive view of masculinity a lot of the time. I'm not saying they're not as messed up as the rest of us. Clearly they are. But I'm just saying within that, yeah, I just really like what they bring to the table. I pump my whole body mechanically, losing time and barely hearing the music blasting in my ears. My mind is elsewhere. I wonder what music they're listening to. I actually wish that detail had been filled in. I love this color palette. I'm not saying Bipsy is, running circles around Bitsy, but I've never seen this color palette in Bitsy before. Once again, we're just waiting here. There must be like a delay on this. I'm not editing this out. If I have to sit through this, you all have to sit through it. Okay, there we go. I stick my head in the room with the workout machines to check that it's empty, clear. Workout machines. It's free weights or go home, my friend. During my break, I realize I'm not alone in the room anymore. You've got a lot of weight on there, he's saying. Are you sure you know how to use the machine? Who would say that at a gym? I stand up and say nothing. He doesn't move to let me walk away. It's all yours, I say. He says I could show you how to use the machine. No, thank you. No, really, he says. Can I have your number? We can come together, maybe hang out. No, I don't like, because he started with a neg. He was like, "Are you sure? You sure you know what you're doing?" That's a massive red flag. In another life, I would have gone out with him like he wanted. Right now, I'm just afraid of him. I mechanically give him my number. Oh no! He punches it into his phone. And I starts to ask me what I'm doing after this, but I'm already leaving the room. Oh, oh, let's leave the room. Wow, free weights. Now we're going up and talking to people. We shouldn't be doing that. I grab my dumbbells, 15s. Some jacked guy is pumping 45s. I try not to feel inadequate. I try not to think about, it's not a competition with other people in the gym. Sure, he's lifting 45s, but is his technique any good? Probably not. You're pushing yourself. I try not to think about the guy, who is apparently called Jared. My hands are sweaty. I struggle with my curls. I feel kind of angry at myself. He was hot, right? Why didn't I say yes? Why don't I want to be with him? A man being both attractive and into me is a rare occurrence. But then I think of the feeling of being trapped by him, of him using his body to force me into giving him what he wanted. A loud whistling fills my ears. At the bottom of the curl, my fingers fail and I drop the dumbbell. I narrowly whisk my foot out of the way. Ouch. A couple of people turn and look, including Mr. 45LB. I believe that's pounds. Dumbbells. I ignore them all, face hot. I grab the weights and keep going as if nothing happened. When I'm done, I wipe my dumbbells and keep my eyes down as I leave the room. Part 5. Shower. Oh dear. Oh, I wouldn't shower at a gym. I just go home. Sticky with sweat, I enter the shower room. Go to our locker. Oh no, we go to shower. No. Shower first? I should shower first. We knew that was going to happen. I do love this colour palette. This pink and this purple together with the blue. Delicious. I choose the corner of my shower head, strip my shirt off, and begin bathing quickly, facing the wall. I tell myself from the back that no one can tell I'm not a normal man, as if the faucet handles weren't at my shoulder level, as if the shower head wasn't placed for someone a foot taller than I am. Still, the hot water and the soap do their work, and I find myself calming down. Someone comes in, a shower head starts in another row of stalls. I sigh with relief, I let my mind drift. Finally, a calm settles over me, a sense of belonging. I wrap a towel around my waist, leaving my chest bare, a rare spate of confidence. I feel clean and fresh. I walk to the mirrors and begin combing my hair. Play 1,000 games, play 1,000 queer games, live 1,000 queer lives. And I do feel like we're living another life with this game. So to play a game where you're hearing what somebody else who goes to a gym, what their experience of the gym is like, I think that's really interesting, because it's almost like it's a very what's going on in your mind in a gym is actually, it's almost like a rich, like a sacred place or a ritualized place. It's like what's going through your head when you're in a church as well. People don't, I guess, don't really talk about that. So uh, this game's actually surprising me in a really good way, in that it's taken me someplace it's quite transgressive, you know. Very rarely do I see characters moving around in a Bitsy game. I'm not saying Bipsy is massively better than Bitsy. I'm just going on what I'm seeing. There are many places to stand, but he chooses right next to me. I consider covering my chest, but it's too late. The ringing is back in my ears. What do you mean? I say. Guys like me. His smile widens. I just think trans guys are hot. Oh, I respond. Do you think other guys are hot? Cis guys. Not usually, he admits. His smile is beautiful, his teeth gleaming white. He's older, but he clearly takes great care of himself. I force myself not to look down. I head for the steam rooms. Alright, part 6, steam room. Parts... Oh, what? No steam room. Part 7, meditation room. Something went wrong there. I feel like we missed a sequence. The steam room. That sounded like the funnest room of the whole thing. How's everybody going? How's your day? I hope you're having a good day. It's been very cold here. The thing about Melbourne is it's right on the bottom of Australia. It's like the southern coast, and so it's quite far from the equator. So it gets very hot in summer and very cold in winter. The weather either comes from the desert, from the outback, you know, across Adelaide and across Melbourne, or it comes from Antarctica. But what happened last week was we got our regular Antarctica weather, but because of global warming, this big mass of air came from nowhere and just sat next to Melbourne. And so the Antarctic weather, it just hit Melbourne and then just stopped, and it just sat over the city for like 6 days. And it was like 1 degree for like the whole week. It was so cold. Oh, but it finally broke like yesterday. And just the difference, you can't really work when it's that cold, because there's like, you get a little bit like Bob Cratchit or Oliver Twist, where you're just sort of sitting going, oh, can I have another lump of coal, please, sir? What is this game doing? I think we have to say the game has crashed. I think I must have clicked something wrong. I think when we were entering the steam rooms, I think we may have been I think we may have been on the screen underneath the image, and when I clicked, I hit the move button. I think I may have accidentally entered the wrong room underneath the screen, and it jumped to the next sequence, but it probably didn't clean the toggle or something. Ah, what a pity. Well, we'll end it there. It's been a very long video anyway because of the Queer Games Bundle stuff. That was Jock-Bound. Really insightful, really sharp game. As I say, play 1,000 games, queer games, live 1,000 queer lives. And I do feel today to have the privilege of have lived another life, you know. And what a privilege that actually is. That was a brief look at the Queer Games Bundle. I just really hope... What's the best way to put it? The bundle this year is a lot more subtle. There's a lot more subtlety to this year's bundle. It just happens, you know. Some years there's a few heroes, and some years it's a bit alternative. It's time to give back to the community and buy the bundle, because that money does go towards, you know, just the emerging artists of tomorrow are in the bundle today. You know what I mean? And they're all around the world. It's just such an amazing way to just make a statement with your $10 or your $60, whatever you want to pay, just to kind of go, like, I support art, like putting aside the queer stuff. I just think the Queer Games Bundle is just such a wonderful art project that it's just worth your support. It's almost sounding like I'm not selling you on the bundle. I'm sort of saying it's your duty to buy it, sort of thing. And I think maybe I am saying that a little bit this year. I just come out of these things invigorated, and I just really know you will too. So yeah, that's the Queer Games Bundle. You've got 48 hours to get on top of it, to send a statement, to support the community, etc, etc, etc. I hope you enjoyed that briefest look through it. I hope you enjoyed that playthrough of Jock-Bound. Don't do what I do and make the game crash. But other than that, I hope you have a good day, and I hope you find all the eggs that you can possibly eat. Not all of us can, but that's just the way the world works. Alright, see ya, bye.